It is well known that queer people experience a lack of LGBT representation in media with which we can feel identified. Moonflower is a podcast devoted to sharing sapphic stories that give us a voice in literature, cinema, and television. Are you ready to undertake this sapphic journey with host Esther Jiménez? Let's go, lesbians!
Good morning, good afternoon, good night! Hello, everybody! It's been a long time, and I'm so happy to come back to my lovely podcasts about lovely queer content. Honestly, I really needed a break from laptops and writing. It has been such a tough year, but such a beautiful one. I love you, Barcelona. So, I hope that everybody had a wonderful summer, that you all had time to relax, chill out, and travel, if that's what you wanted to do. And I hope that you are not too overwhelmed about coming back to school, college, work, or whatever it is that you're doing. Personally, I love coming back to college because I am passionate about studying. But I guess it is not everyone's case. So, this summer I dove into some sapphic series and novels that I really enjoyed. These are the book called Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellfleur. It was actually my brother who bought it for me in a very cute bookshop during our trip to New York. Yes, I went to New York, crazy. So this book is even more special for me. Then I watched the movie Breaking the Ice and the series Grease, the Rise of the Pink Ladies. And of course, the gay series of the moment, Heartstopper. But hopefully we will get more time to talk about those, because today I am discussing a book that my lovely friend Aina gave to me as a birthday present a long time ago, actually. Thank you, Aina, for gifting the best novels in the world. People who know me know that I am a very slow reader. But this novel, bro, I read it in like 1 or 2 weeks. So, the British author Julia Armfield is the writer of this heartbreaking story. I am going to read to you a very concise and deep synopsis offered by La Casa del Libro in their website, so that we can start our oceanic trip to this fictional world. So, Miri thinks she has got her wife back, when Leah finally returns after a deep-sea mission that ended in catastrophe. It soon becomes clear, though, that Leah may have come back wrong. Whatever happened in that vessel, whatever it was they were supposed to be studying before they were stranded on the ocean floor, Leah has carried part of it with her onto dry land and into their home. To have the woman she loves back should mean a return to normal life, but Miri can feel Leah slipping from her grasp. Memories of what they had before, the jokes they shared, the films they watched, all the small things that made Leah hers, only remind Miri of what she stands to lose. Living in the same space but suddenly separate, Miri comes to realize that the life that they had might be gone. Our Wives Under the Sea is a devout novel from the critically acclaimed author of Sad Slow. It's a story of falling in love, loss, grief, and what life there is in the deep, deep sea. So, intense, right? Well, talking about some formal aspects of this text, Our Wives Under the Sea mixes fiction with sciences, especially marine biology. An example of this is the structure of the book itself. Each section is a layer of the ocean. So in this way, the novel is like divided in 5 parts. These are called Sunlight Zone, Twilight Zone, Midnight Zone, Abyssal Zone, and Hadal Zone. And because I'm really passionate about biology, I am going to break it to you. So, the sunlight zone extends from the surface to 200 meters, and it's where most of the visible light exists. Then, the twilight zone extends from 200 meters to 1,000 meters, which is quite a lot already. There, the sunlight is very faint, and because of the lack of light, bioluminescence begins to appear on organisms of this zone. The midnight zone extends from 1,000 meters to 4,000 meters, and there is no light over there. In fact, the only light comes from the bioluminescence of the animal themselves. Even if the pressure is really extreme, sperm whales can dive down to this level in search of food, which is actually quite interesting. The abyssal zone extends from 4,000 meters to 6,000 meters, and it is the pitch black bottom layer of the ocean. As you can imagine, the water temperature is freezing, and therefore only a few creatures can be found there. These creatures are the ones who look like Pokémons and who I really like. And finally, the hadal zone extends from 6,000 meters to the very bottom, which is 10,000 meters, actually in the Mariana Trench off the coast of Japan. You might find it impossible, but even at this depth, life exists. Okay, now coming back to our story, I think that Armfield, the author, not only does this division to make references to science, but also metaphorically. This is due to the fact that throughout the story, we navigate deeper and deeper into each character's minds, and of course, into their hearts, which is something that is not actually visible from the outside, just as the abyssal zone. Also, by having this experience, each character dives in their own emotions and gets to know themselves deeply. Another example of this mixture of biology and fiction is the numerous references to Sylvia Earle. For those people who do not know her, she's the queen of marine biology. She actually has the record for deepest walk on the seafloor, and she was the first woman to lead the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, an empowered woman that we really like. And actually, if you're keen on this stuff, you should watch her documentary, Mission Blue, in which we see her project of protecting the ocean. Now, moving into other topics, we could say that Armfield also mixes a horror story with a love story. In fact, we are given a love story in the format of a horror story. And I was really scared when I was reading the book, to be honest. And this actually reminds me of The Haunting of Bly Manor, which you can find in this podcast as well. And I have to say that even if I hate horror, I love it when artists do this kind of stuff. Also, I feel like there are quite a lot of fictions about women becoming marine creatures. Maybe it is a literary archetype. I don't know. As mentioned before, some examples of this are The Haunting of Bly Manor and books such as Lagoon that you may not know, but I really recommend it. Besides this book being about love, I think that actually it centers around the topic of grief. Not only do we see Leah mourning her girlfriend Miri, but also we see how each of them are still mourning their parents. Miri misses her mother and Leah her father. In fact, we witness how neither of them are able to let them go and are actually stuck in their memories. So now I am going to read some fragments of the text that I really liked, and let's see if you like them. So, what I remember then becomes what happened. Leah living like the summer from the ocean, not by degrees, but all at once. You go so deep, you forget you are supposed to come back. I feel for a moment that I understand the whole bright dailiness of our life before this. The morning glances at the bathroom sink, the speed of toothpaste, the cramp and comfort of our hall and living room and kitchen. Understand it and also understand that it is gone. I thought about Mary sometimes. Try not to because of the very particular ache it summoned, and then it did it anyway. I thought about Mary, describing the type of cat she would like to adopt. About Mary, brushing her hand over my hair in the way she often did. When I couldn't think about Mary anymore, I gave up and thought instead about the imprints of deliquesced jellyfish. The brown and pink remainders, only imprints, fading to nothing on a wide expanse of shore. In grief, you idealize the relationship of the past. There's a point between the sea and the air that is both and also not quite either. Does that make sense? I'm talking about the point at the very top of the ocean that is constantly evaporating and condensing, where water yearns towards air and air yearns towards water. I think about this sometimes, that middle place, the struggle of one thing twisting into another and back again. Miri placing her hands either side of my face to shake me when I drifted away from the thread of a conversation. Are you there? Or is it this person a replicant? Problem is, I read that ultimately you're really the one who has to kill them. Or not them, but the idea of them. You have to make a choice to let it then. I think that the things about losing someone isn't the loss, but the absence of afterwards. Do you know what I mean? The endlessness of that. My friends were sad, people who knew my sister were sad, but everyone moves on after a month. It's all they can manage. It doesn't mean that they weren't sad, just that things keep going or something, I don't know. It's hard when you look up and realize that everyone's moved off and left you in that place by yourself. Like they have all gone and you're there still, holding on to this person you're supposed to let go of. Let go of them in the water is something I read once. Seems a bit of a joke in the circumstances, but still, something about how living means relinquishing the dead and letting them drop down or fall or sink. Letting go of them in the water, you know. Whoa, 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 oh my God, powerful, beautiful, and awesome words, right? It is not only that the story is beautiful, but the language with which it is written, it's awesome. I have to admit that this thing of letting go of people in the water stuck in my head. And this leads me to the last thing I will say about Our Wives Under the Sea. I think that primarily, this story teaches us that even if extremely painful, we have to embrace grief in order to let go, to let that person finally go to the water. In fact, Leah's fading away might be a metaphor of this situation in a relationship when you know very deep inside you that you are not compatible with that person anymore and it is impossible for you to end that relationship, to let it go. In this way, Leah's trip and coming back is a symbol of grief in a relationship and the impossibility to end it. I won't spoil the ending, but I can tell you that our protagonists finally learn to let go and embrace grief. So, I hope that you enjoy this book if you read it and that you tell me what you think of it, please. And I also hope that everything's good and that you're all embracing your feelings, however painful they are. See you soon. Goodbye.